Welcome to the milestone 25th Miami Jewish Film Festival, the world's largest festival of its kind. We want to thank all of our members, sponsors, community partners, all of you film lovers, and especially our presenting sponsors, the Center for the Advancement of Jewish Education and the Greater Miami Jewish Federation for their continued support throughout all of these years. My name is Cantor Lisa Siegel, and I proudly serve Temple Beth Shalom on Miami Beach. I'm excited to be moderating a virtual conversation with director Elena Yakovich, executive producer Victorina Petrossiants, and producer Natalie Azarov from the movie Song Searcher, which is premiering at this year's festival. Thank you all for joining us. I want to open up with a few of my own thoughts. As a cantor, this movie spoke to me personally. I was very moved by the film and the story of Moses Beregovsky, a Soviet Jewish folklorist and ethnomusicologist from Ukraine. His research and his life's work included the collection, transcription, and analysis of the melodies, text, and culture of the Yiddish folk song. Wordless melodies that we call nigunim, instrumental music known as klezmer, the music of the shtetls, and the Yiddish songs describing the atrocities of the Jewish ghettos, death marches, and labor camps. You should all know that these types of musical works live on in the cantorial world and are continuously being transcribed and released here in America with the intent to keep the depth and meaning of the music of the Soviet Ukraine alive for generations to come. It is said that Moses Rabbeinu transcribed the oral Torah, which became ongoing throughout our existence. This Moses, Moses Beregovsky, was our musical Moses in his own right, who passed along the oral tradition of Jewish folk song. As cantors, it is our sacred calling to pass along and to teach this musical tradition. And so I'm going to begin with our executive producer, Victorina. Please tell us about yourself, where you are from, where you have lived and live now, and how you got into directing and production.
Thank you for the introduction. I am an immigrant from Russia. Actually, I was born in Moscow and graduated Moscow University, and my major is history of art, if it has some connections with my later career of the producer. I'm working for many years with the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Culture of Russia, in the department of the art exhibition, and working basically with the museum, which I still do, but in a little different way, because 15 years ago I became a producer, and I have my company in Moscow, which is making the documentary movies and the programs for the channel Kultura. And also I have my own program Kolleksия, which revolves around exclusive interview with the director and curator of the world major museum and the collections. A couple of years ago, I was introduced to the professor of Toronto University, Anna Sternschitz. My friend Svetlana Dvoretsky actually introduced me to her, and she told me an amazing story about her project Yiddish Glory. She was working at the Kiev archives some years before, and one lady showed her a box with the unknown letters in Yiddish, and it happened to be the Yiddish songs, folklore songs, which nobody saw before. She translated it to English and managed to make an album, which was nominated for the Grammy Award. And for me, it was just a surprise how little we know about the history of the Jewish folklore. And being a Jewish, we just don't know this part of the history, I thought. And I was amazed how big interest she found in the audience about these folklore Jewish songs. And I had a thought that we need to make a movie. We have to tell the story to the people about the Yiddish music and about the amazing Moshe Beregovsky who saved it for us. And I went back to Moscow. I met Elena Yakovich, who is the brilliant director and I think one of the biggest expert in the Jewish history, at least in Russia. And we decided that we somehow have to organize the whole process, and we managed to find the funding. Thank you to Roman Abramovich and some other sponsors who helped us in this. And we organized the expedition to Ukraine. Elena, with their team, with the cameraman and experts, went to Ukraine and found an interesting material for the movie. And not only for this movie, we have such an interesting archive now, which presents so many interesting discoveries, I would say. And I think that this film is not even a job to work of our hours. It's a mission to tell the people about the Yiddish folklore in a most difficult time for the Jewish people, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you talked about going to the Ukraine. So some of the footage was filmed on location in the Ukraine, because I know there was a lot of, old footage. But
yes. Actually, it was a lot of different places. It was Ukraine, of course, these little Jewish places, the shtetls, then Kiev, the archive. Then it was Florence, Italy, Israel, New York, Moscow, St. Petersburg. So it was a lot of places where Elena with the crew went and found an interesting material and documentaries for our film.
How long did the whole process take, the filming?
I would say 1.5 to 2 years.
Wow. Okay. What have you achieved personally creating this film? How do you feel about it personally?
When the first time we actually did a screening for the close friends in New York. And I think for me, the biggest achievement was that all my friends, everybody, the first viewers of this film were asking me how we can show this to the kids. When can we translate it in English? How we can tell this to our kids? And I think this is the biggest achievement. So we have a story to tell our kids about these difficult times and about these brilliant people and our beautiful Jewish music.
Yeah, I mean, this is just an amazing find, this archive. I just, I think it's going to really impact the Jewish musical world in a great way. So I'm going to ask Elena, our director, again, same thing. Tell us about yourself, where you're from, where you've lived, where you live now, and how you got into directing and production.
Thank you so much for your touching introduction. I was really touched to listen to these words. So I was born in Moscow. I live in Moscow. I studied journalism in Moscow University. Then I started working in Literatурная газета. It is the favorite paper of Russian intellectuals. And that was the time of perestroika, Gorbachev's perestroika, and Jewish theme and the knowledge of Holocaust was making its way to the public. Because in Russia before it, even the word Jew was not so decent to pronounce, and not many people knew about Holocaust. And so I was one of the pioneers to bring this knowledge to the people. First, I published in Literatурная газета the unknown pages of so-called Black Book. It is a book which was destroyed during Stalinist time after the war, where our writers, Ehrenburg and Grossman, gathered the knowledge about Holocaust in the Soviet Union. So when the perestroika came, they were found and we published it in Literatурная газета. So I made my first film in 1993, and it was the film about a poet, Nobel Prize winner, Joseph Brodsky. My second film was about the ghetto in Brest. Since that time, I made dozens of films which were shown on leading Russian TV channels and got many prizes, Russian and international. But the most valuable prize I got this year, it is a honorable prize for outstanding contribution to the involvement of Jewish cinema in Russia. And of course, I was very proud. I didn't expect I will get it. And I'm so happy that we have now this film, which is how to say, confirm this prize. During shooting this film, I made few films on Jewish connected with Jewish topics. First of all, it was the film The World After Auschwitz, and one film which was called Kristallnacht, the Jewish pogrom 1938. And it was very important that they were shown on TV, and many people could know this unique knowledge which they didn't suspect exist. And so I suppose maybe that's why Wika met me. It was before COVID, long time ago. She met me in Moscow and suggested me to do this film, and so we started. But I think it's not only about Yiddish folklore or music. It's about the Holocaust, about the fate of the survivors, about the heroism of this very little, I mean, by physical, excuse me for my English, not very big person who became great while doing these things, while he was sent for this to Gulag by after the war, and so his life was tragic, but he got us an opportunity to hear the voices of the people who were destroyed by the war.
Right.
That's it.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. So you filmed, you know, as you talked about the survivors and the people who also passed so tragically, but you filmed a great many survivors for the film. And of course, it features predominantly the granddaughter of Moses Beregovsky, Elena.
Baevska. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can you say it again?
Elena Baevska.
It doesn't matter. We call her Elena Beregovskaya.
Okay. Okay. And, you know, of course, I was very moved by her, but also I was moved really so much by Igor, the violinist. Tell me about working with them, and who, you know, what were your thoughts about working with them, and who moved you the most?
You see, there was many miracles while we were doing this film. First miracle was that Elena, who actually emigrated to Washington, returned to St. Petersburg just before I started, and and it came out that she's a good friend of my good friends, so we became friends also, and we found with her, she returned to this flat, and we found with her the letters which Beregovsky sent to his family from from Siberia when he was in Gulag, and it was very important for the film. And of course, she remembered so much things about her grandfather, whom he actually loved so much. And it was a great thing for the film that she not only took part in it, but went to the Ukraine with me. And for the first time, she saw in the Library of Ukraine this. I can't say it in English. I mean, this
Cylinders.
wax
Cylinder.
wax cylinder, wax cylinders, which
Oh, yes, the wax
where the
cylinders.
stones
Yes.
were gathered. Of course, Igor was a miracle because Elena said me about Igor. And at that time, Vika was in Florence, and I immediately went to the Florence to her, and we met
We
with him.
found him, yes.
And the next day, he said to me, "I'm going to Ukraine." I say, "Why?" Because he had vacation and he gathered to go to Amsterdam. And suddenly he said, "I'm going to Ukraine." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you remembered me so much about my childhood." And he really went to Ukraine with us, to this Kalinindorf. When somebody asked me what were the main challenges for this film, I will answer the roads in Ukraine. How we survived through these roads, I don't know, but he was so courageous to do all this journey with us. And it was all the survivors were very touching. But the most important for me, the most important story for me was the story of Alexander Gelman, whom I know very long ago. And he is a very famous playwright in Moscow. And it came out that he spent his childhood and where his mother was dead, and where he spent almost 3 years, was the place Bershets, where Beregovsky after the war gathered the stones. So that was another miracle. I should say that the mother of my husband also spent her childhood in Bershert. That's why for me it became a private story.
Yeah. Yes. Personal story. Yes.
Personal,
Yes.
well, of
Yes.
course, personal. It became a
Yeah.
personal story, though all the stories are personal for us being a Jews.
Of course.
Of
It is
course.
very personal for each and every one of us,
Right.
because when we talk to people who are, everybody it's everybody for it's personal for everybody. I would say this.
Yes,
Of
if to
course.
continue about miracles, when I came to New York, my friend asked, "What are you doing now?" I said, "A film about Beregovsky." She said, "Really?" My mother was the neighbor of Beregovsky in Kiev during after the war, and we immediately rushed to her mother, whom I knew very much whom I knew before it, and made an interview with her, and everybody thinks that it came hours and months for me to find such person for the film. But when you do something very correct, the miracles start to be happening.
It's so funny you're talking about miracles because we're right in the middle of Hanukkah, which it's all
Yes.
about miracles, the miracle of the light. But I always teach our kids that miracles happen every day, in our everyday lives. And we just have to recognize them. And in this project, you certainly have recognized and seen so many miracles. It's amazing. So I want to keep asking you a couple other things. I wanted to just commend you for the amazing wartime agricultural land and shtetl footage that you collected and included in this film. I think it was old. I think there was a lot of old footage. I don't think it was remade, unless I'm wrong. What was it like to compile all that footage? Or was it?
I didn't catch actually what you mean. you see, Beregovsky gathered his songs after the war in so-called Transnistria. Transnistria was not under the Germans, but under the Romanians,
Romanians.
Romanian.
Romanian.
and there were no actions. I mean, no, Jews were not necessarily be shot there, be killed there, because where German were like in Kalinindorf, from where is Pelisitsky's family, they were killed
Everyone.
totally. They were killed totally, all the children, women, old men, everybody. But in Transnistria, they were sent to ghetto where they died from illness,
Hunger.
from hunger. Yes, and one third of them survived, especially children. And so he had an opportunity to move through this. It was Vinica and the places surrounded it. So we first of all we followed Beregovsky in these places. There are no actually Jews there, but their houses, their landscapes, and so all remembered that there, how to say, that there was a strong and very interesting Jewish life before the war.
Right.
We met many monuments devoted to Jews. We went to Kamenets-Podolsky, where actually I think Holocaust starts, because it was the first shooting, you say, how you say, the first shooting of Kamenets-Podolsky Jews and the Jews deported from Hungary. And the other miracle was that we arrived there just at the day when it happened. We didn't believe, we didn't make this especially, but it happened. This Kamenets-Podolsky is so beautiful place, with the fortress, with the people living now, very touristic place. And it's very difficult to understand that such a tragedy happened there. And in Kalinindorf, Pelisitsky tried to found the place where his relatives were killed. And it was a teacher in Kalinindorf, a teacher of history. He's Ukrainian, but all his life he gathering information about the Jews, because Kalinindorf was absolutely Jewish place, the first how to say, Jewish republic in Soviet Union, organized after the revolution. And so without him, we would not find anything, and he helped us. He put monuments there at any place. So
right.
So like this.
So tell me, I'm very intrigued as a musician about the wax cylinders. Do you know if have they been digitized?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what is the story with them? I'm curious. Tell me about the cylinders. Are they? Yeah.
I should answer, Vika.
You want me to help you, right?
No,
that's
please, Natasha, just say.
You will. I spoke with Lyudmila Sholokhova, and she shared this story. And all wax cylinders, biggest collection is the National Public Library of Ukraine in Kiev.
In Kiev.
Yeah, most of them, everything what was possible, digitized. About 700 cylinders were digitized. And you can find the music on the public domain. If you want, I can send you this link.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Lyudmila Sholokhova published a lot of articles. She's in our movie. She's in our documentary. And she did collected a lot of materials, and it was a CD which was digitized, history of Jewish folklore from 1912 up to 1947.
Wow.
And yeah, and she promoted for many years. She works at the Eva Institute. She was head of the library and archive. Now she transferred to New York Public Library. And biggest collection you can
Yeah,
survive.
I think this is something that I might be able to just help you with, is getting, you know, I want to reach out to, we have organizations, the American Conference of Cantors and the Cantors Assembly, which I'm a proud member of both of them. They may be very interested at their conventions to talk about, to hear about this project, to maybe promote the movie, and we can talk about that a different time. But I just think this is so intriguing for so many.
I suppose this this job didn't finish yet. When we started,
We just started.
Just
yes,
started. Okay.
no, when we started, there were 5 discs, and Mila said to me that now they continue. That's why. No.
Yeah, it's 12.
Yes.
Yes, and that's why few songs, not few, but many songs, we can hear for the first time in the film, because some of them were already digitized and published, but many of them, and in our film, they appeared for the first time, because Mila called to her colleagues in Kiev. There's a special organization which do this difficult thing to transfer these wax cylinders into discs. They invented a special machine to do it.
Right. Okay.
Was, they have some in Vienna and somewhere else, and they were suggested, but they say, no, we shall do it ourselves. And they invented a special big machine to do it in Kiev.
Right.
And so now they continue
the process. Yeah.
The process.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, Natalie, I want to get to you as well. So tell us about yourself, where you're from, where you've lived, and how you, and where you live now, and how you got into the field of production.
Okay. I also was born in Moscow, born and raised, and graduated from the State University of Culture. In 1993, immigrated to US, to New York, and actually in couple of months I met Victorina, and yeah, and the last 10 years I helped her in her project. All my, biggest part of my life I worked in event planning, and last 10 years I helped her with her project. In 2019, Victorina shared with me this story about her meeting with Anna Sternschitz about the archive, and I was so fascinated with this story, and she asked me to join the project as a line producer in New York. I gladly, did this work, and this movie is very special for me personally, and this is my beginning in producing career, because I just now finished course of Peter Broderick, Recharge Your Distribution. My goal is to make this story known to the world.
Absolutely. Wow. And just tell me in your own world, why, in your own words, why does the world need to know this story?
Like Victorina said, Lena confirmed that this is a mission. It's not just regular movie for us. We understood that it's a lot of documentaries in America about Holocaust, about all these events, but events what happened in Ukraine where biggest population of Jews used to live. You know, it's not known to the public. And was all of our families. If you ask any Jew in, you know, Soviet Union and previous Soviet Union, everyone has connection to all these events, what happened. And me personally also, you know, as soon as I fill out my application with Genie application and find out my roots,
Right.
I know that a lot of people, you know, were alive, buried in Belarus. And this is mission for our
Right.
team.
Right. I
To
mean,
bring
so
the story to kids.
right, to tell the story and that let the story live on. Yeah, I mean, we all have, so many of us have Eastern European and roots from the Ukraine and Russia as well, and so many of us. So I'm just asking, I'd like to just ask all three of you, and you've talked about it, but just how did it, being Jewish, how did it affect the way you live Jewishly, this project? How did it affect you? How does it affect you personally as a Jew? Anybody want to share that?
Okay.
I think,
Oh,
yeah, Lenочка.
no, just start. Just start, Victor.
I think that we all like the Jewish music, and now I feel very close to it for some reason. You know, I know more, and it's goes straight to my heart and soul. And also we have some new information for us about the history, about the people. We have so many new friends after this project, you know, was done, and we're all connected now. And that's a little, maybe not little, it's a difference in our life because we have some new page in our everyday life. I would say this.
Beautiful, beautiful. Anyone
I
else?
suppose making a film like this makes you working with the film like this makes you better and deeper. And you see, the problem is that Holocaust in the USSR is an unknown Holocaust at the West. The Holocaust in the USSR was absolutely different than the activities of the Nazis in the West. First of all, it started earlier. It started with the invasion of SSSR exactly at 22nd of June of 1941, before Wannsee, before everything. They just start to shoot people. They moved, we all know Babi Yar, but before Babi Yar, they moved from the West and they killed thousands of people, thousands of children, women, and old men, because many men were sent to France, so they left at their places. For example, in Berdichev, before Babi Yar, were killed first 11,000 people, then 14,000 people. In Kamenets-Podolsky were killed, it seems to me, 22,000 people. And only then was Babi Yar. They didn't send them to the camp. Sometimes they even didn't send them to Ghetto. Ghetto existed at the territory of the Soviet Union, but when they were moved through from the beginning of the war, they just shoot. And nobody knows this in the West. Concentration camp was an awful tragedy. The word can't stay the same after Auschwitz, for example, but it can't stay the same after what they did in this. Как овраг будет? Овраг по-английски.
Ничего не соображу.
Okay, we didn't find this word where they were how Yar in Russian it will be Yar, Babi Yar. It's a deep place, where
they put the bodies.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
they're not bodies; they just shoot them.
Shoot them, yes.
They were
Right.
falling there.
Right.
So it was very important to bring this knowledge to the West.
Right.
And then the tragedy of those Jews which were under the Romanian occupation in Transnistria, it was also awful. When we heard these stories, how these children were deported from the places to the ghettos, to the camps, it was not like concentration camp, but the camp where they stayed for years. It's just an awful picture. And through these songs, through these stories, we hear their voices. That's why it's so important.
So, right. Beautiful, beautiful. Can you just, I'm just curious, can you, Elena, you live in Moscow? Is that where you
Yes.
just, yes.
Yes.
Can you talk about Jewish life now
Of
there?
course.
And is it in the Jewish culture? And can you?
There is a great Jewish culture now in Moscow. All of us celebrate Hanukkah, for example. There was when before COVID, they put this Hanukkah thing at the main menorah at the main square of Moscow. There are many synagogues. There are many Jewish schools in Moscow, and there's a special region in Mariina Roshcha near synagogue where you can meet very traditional Jews. I'm actually not a traditional Jew. I just
You're a proud Jew.
You're proud Jew.
Definitely.
but my granddaughter, for example, is going to the Jew school, and it is governmental school now. And you can make films about Holocaust. Our film after this festival will be shown, I think, at the Russian TV.
On the Russian TV, yes, in January 27 on the
Fabulous.
channel.
Holocaust. And it will be a great meeting devoted to this event, not to our film, but to 27 of January in Helicon Opera in Moscow. They will sing Babi Yar after Shostakovich this year. It happens every year.
Beautiful. Well, so this, from darkness to light, these people didn't die in vain. Their memories live on, and Jewish life has resurged, and it's just amazing to hear. It really is. So I just want to thank you all. I really am so grateful to you for sharing, this amazing story, and to bringing to life the work of Moses Beregovsky and showing his granddaughter and talking about the people who lived in these villages, and about this complete record of musical heritage of the Jews of the Ukraine that's been preserved. So as you ended the movie with these sentiments, we can understand and hear so much of it today. Moses's work is of special value. He wanted to save an entire tradition of work. He helped save Yiddish Jewish music culture.
Nobody did it in Poland, where most the Jews lived. No in Belarus, no in any other countries.
No, in Lithuania. Actually, I wanted to say, if I have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Before, in the beginning of the movie, we went with Lena to Vilnius, to Lithuania. It's a little place.
Right, and that's where my relatives are from.
Really, it was a little place, Jurbarkus. It's a small town where in 41, 2,500 Jews were killed in one day. And no one Jew lives there now. And they opened a beautiful memorial to the Jewish people. And we went to the opening of this memorial. And for me, it was a shock that nobody lives there now. And the people of Jurbarkus actually were very welcoming to this memorial. And the mayor of this little town said that this street where Jewish people lived and they were all killed, and they were on this street down to the cemetery, actually, where the execution happened. And now, because of this memorial, they're coming back. And it was so touching, so beautiful ceremony. It was a lot of people from all over the world on this ceremony. And I think this is very important. And I couldn't stop crying. And Lena told me, you have to get used to, but it is very touching and very emotional. And I hope because of the people who are opening the memorials, making movies, and writing books and singing songs. So this is
Right.
this is
all
memory.
of this. Yeah, it's this is this is also
and this is
all,
very, very important.
And
That's why it's a mission. That's why it's not just we want to make a movie and got a prize, and we just want to tell the story to the people all over the world.
I should say that the work of Beregovsky became the monument not only to Ukraine Jews, but to the entire monument to the all Jews of Eastern Europe, because
Yes.
he was the only one who did it.
Yes, yes. Well, this labor of love that you all produce is a link between the spirit of the people that are no longer with us, and you've brought their memories back to life in this film as if they themselves are talking to us. So it's beautiful. It's very moving. It's an incredible project, and I hope so many get to see it. I really do. I thank you so much, Elena and Victorina and Natalie, for bringing to us this very important work, Song Searcher. Once
Good
again,
luck,
yes.
festival. Good luck, festival.
Oh, good luck to the Jewish Film Festival. It's going to be incredible. And I'm so glad that they are bringing this movie. I look forward to so many of my friends and colleagues seeing it. So once again, thank you to all of our members, our sponsors, our community partners, volunteers, and all of you film lovers for participating in the milestone 25th Miami Jewish Film Festival. Thank you.